Welcome to this video on non-freezing cold injuries, known as NFCIs. Non-freezing cold injuries are poorly understood and many people are unaware that they actually exist. They're quite distinct from freezing cold injuries, known as FCIs, the most well-known of those, of course, being frostbite. What I have noticed lately is an increased interest and participation in cold water swimming and people taking cold showers, with perhaps some of you opting for the more luxurious option of an ice bath. Now, I covered the benefits and risks of cold water immersion in a previous video, and the link is showing above on the screen here. So if you've not done so, please subscribe and visit my channel for many other helpful videos in addition to this one. This video looks at non-freezing cold injuries, what is known, and if we need to be more aware of them at a time of increased popularity for cold water swimming and cold immersion. So, how cold is cold? As the title suggests, non-freezing cold injuries occur from non-freezing temperatures. So in terms of cold water immersion, this would be 15 degrees down to 0 degrees. And this range is thought to initiate the responses that people desire, and this is also the range in which these NFCIs occur. The term trench foot is often associated with NFCIs. The term was coined during the First World War and was marked by tissue breakdown from prolonged wet cold exposure in the trenches. Modern cases of NFCI are not associated with the same soft tissue breakdown as trench foot, but the addition of moisture to cold exposure does increase the risk of injury. So what are the symptoms? Initially, patients report sensory dysfunction in the extremities of the hands and feet. This includes numbness, paresthesia, and pain. When the extremities are re-warmed, patients may experience swelling and exacerbation of that pain. Some patients develop persistent pain and cold hypersensitivity in the hands and feet. And patients often experience a loss of temperature detection in their fingers and toes, which necessitates the use of their elbow or a thermometer if they wanted to check water temperature, for example. So what causes these symptoms? Well, Vale and colleagues were the first in 2017 to undertake a detailed neurological evaluation of patients with chronic NFCIs. Their comprehensive study reported that pain from NFCIs is neuropathic in origin and is due to the development of a sensory neuropathy of the extremities from repeated cold exposure. But in some rare cases, even a single bout of above freezing cold exposure can trigger the longer-term symptoms of an NFCI. Now, importantly, are you at risk? Well, NFCI is a recognised syndrome, particularly in military personnel, mountaineers, fishermen, and homeless populations. If you are in one of these categories, then you are at a higher risk than average if you are exposed to cold on a regular basis. One of the things these groups have in common is the lack of control over their environment and the inability to limit exposure. Whether you're halfway through a military exercise, fishing at sea, up a mountain, or sleeping outside in cold weather, you're unlikely to have the ability to suddenly reduce your exposure and warm up. And it's for this reason that recreational cold water immersers are unlikely to damage their peripheral nerves and give themselves an NFCI. Recreational immersion and exposure is usually of short duration and much more within personal control. However, if you do experience any of the symptoms mentioned in the video, then make sure you stop and get some professional medical advice. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and if you've not already watched the cold water immersion video, then I've popped it on the screen here. I highly recommend watching it before you jump in any cold water. That's it from me. I'll see you next time.